Let's rock and roll. Let's start 2025. Man, about a week into it, just in the news. We're having some fun here. It's the hobby rolls on, let me tell you. About to clean up the old Christmas backdrop. We might get one or two more episodes with that, the tree in the background, and that's it. And then we move along. And the hobby doesn't stop. It's funny. I have a couple topics for you today. One of them, obviously, the title, Do Athletes Really Collect Cards? Something I've been thinking about myself, especially with, if you see my news, you see, Tops, they have to promote this. They have to show, all the great things are out there. You see, celebrities with cards. You see, athletes with their cards. See Mike Trout's a card collector. Everybody who has been in the hobby for more than a couple minutes remembers Giannis has a huge card collection. And so we'll talk about that and something happened to me and Ian over the holidays and, story left to finish for another episode, I guess. And then, just talk about just the general state of the hobby, where my mind is at. Got so many great, holiday wishes, New Year's wishes from so many of you guys. Thanks for checking out the content. Thanks for stick with me when I took a little bit of a week off here for New Year's. That was nice. But we're back at it. We're back rolling, and we're doing our stuff. So, do athletes collect? The last episode that I did was about holiday cards. I don't know if you guys remember that. Saying how it was an affordable way to collect. There's some fun stuff. And, I showed you my binder, and how it's an easy way for Ian and I to collect over the holidays. And it's a cool gift, stocking stuffer type gift. If you celebrate Hanukkah, a holiday mega box per night is a cool thing to do. I start buying the holiday mega boxes before Thanksgiving and actually bring them with me to Thanksgiving and give one to every kid who's there at the Thanksgiving that I go to. And it's fun watching them pull Santa Claus cards as the parade is going on and Santa Claus is, on the street. So it's a cool way of doing it. We now have many, many years of holiday cards. And, after we had opened all of our stuff, we put it in binders and, have some fun with it. I happen to be on Twitter. I don't really post on Twitter too much, but I happen to be on Twitter and I noticed a post. It was a picture of somebody with a picture of, I think they had like 7 or 8 holiday mega boxes. And it was like, hey, what do you think I'll pull? And the post was by Jordan Lawler, who, Arizona Diamondbacks rookie card, who was in the set. That's, it's a rookie baseball player, a good rookie, who was posting they were opening cards. Not a bunch of fanfare about this post, not a lot of response to it. Not somebody who has a ton of followers, and doesn't really seem to be on social too much. But I saw the post, happened to see it, shortly after it was posted. That's the way the algorithm works. You make content about holiday mega boxes, and all of a sudden the holiday mega box content is being, pushed through your feed, I guess, right? So anyway, I responded. He's like, "What do you think I'll pull?" And I wrote, if you're lucky, you'll get the same card that my son got, which was this. I'm holding up for those of you guys listening and aren't watching on YouTube. In a 20-box case of these mega boxes, usually there's one auto. Last year, Ian and I got Taj Bradley. There are some really cool cards in it, jersey autos and stuff, Santa Claus patches and stuff. We haven't gotten any of those. We open a lot. We haven't gotten any of those. Last year, we got a Taj Bradley auto. And this year, our auto, opened 20 mega boxes, was Jordan Lawler. So I posted a picture of that. Said, if you're lucky, you'll get the same autograph that my son got. And within minutes, Jordan Lawler responded and said, hey, message me on Instagram. So I did. And we chatted for a while. And we talked about cards. We talked about, collections, what I collect, what he likes to collect. I showed him some pictures of some vintage baseball cards, which is not an area that he's, familiar with. I showed him some cool Jackie Robinson stuff that I own. And, it was a cool thing because you could tell that he was genuinely interested in the hobby and in the cards. And of course, immediately, before we even chatted, my immediate, offer was, he can have this because I mentioned to Ian that this was posted, and he's like, "Yeah, of course, send him the card if he wants it." And yeah, so I'll be sending him the card. No ask in return. Maybe get nothing back in return. Who knows? That's not why you do it, right? I've sent out enough freebie gifts, over the last 5 years or so of making content and doing this stuff, with no nothing in return other than trying to grow the hobby, trying to keep people in the space happy. And it's not that a professional baseball player needs a free card of himself, but that's what we do in the hobby. You know what I mean? And maybe one day, he'll be an all-star and tell a story about how, he was coming in the league and he posted a story about opening baseball cards and he forgets the guy's name, but somebody reached out and sent him a card just for free, didn't ask for anything in return. And it paints the space in a good light instead of the comic book caricature stuff that we have, otherwise. He mentioned that he also collects some of his friends in the league. So I'll continue the conversation with him, find out who his friends are, maybe, see what kind of stuff Ian and I may have of his friends. And maybe we can, maybe we can send some other stuff his way that, that his friends can collect. Who knows? I mean, maybe some of his teammates, you never know. But yeah, I mean, so that's that's a fun little story. I expect nothing in return. I hope to get nothing in return. It's not why you do it. But one of the fun things, it's cool, right? I mean, of course, Ian was like, yeah, he even is contemplating writing him a letter to send with the card, just saying, hey, it was fun pulling your card or something. You know what I mean? Because that's what kids do. If he does that and, the story continues, I 100% will keep you guys updated because, that's what we do. We talk about our hobby journeys. And this was one of those unexpected kind of offshoots of the hobby where, you didn't wake up one day thinking that the last content you made talking about a cool product, fun opening with your son, it's cost efficient, $20 for a mega box. You get them for less if you buy them in bulk, and you're able to open them up, have some fun, and not break the bank. I guess one little added bonus is, if you pull the right card, you might be able to send it to the person who signed it, and have a conversation with them and talk the hobby. So that was a fun little little hobby sidebar. And I guess athletes really do collect cards. And I've spoken to a bunch of athletes also. There's a fun little picture of me showing Don Mattingly his 84 Donruss rookie card in PSA 10 that I've had for quite some time, when I got to interview him at the Chantilly show. So yeah, I mean, you never know when you wake up where the hobby's going to take you, what your hobby story is going to be that day. And it's not only about breaking and ripping cards and doing the other fun stuff. You can, you can wind up having a fun conversation about cards with someone who actually plays in the league, which is kind of cool. Second part, I'm kind of energized about 2025 for the hobby. I really am. I'm excited about, where the hobby's headed in 2025. Lots of cool stuff. We're getting a glimpse, guys. You've seen and just bear with me now for a second, right? You've seen what Topps has done with their cards when they don't have licenses. You've seen the Topps Chrome that has Wemby in it. You've seen the composite they did for football. You've seen some of the stuff they did, the Mercury set they did for basketball, Wembanyama. You've seen some of the ideas, but none of those licenses have actually come to them yet. We have to wait a little while for, the fully licensed stuff. We know that that's coming, but you're going to get a glimpse of what they do with the fully licensed stuff. And maybe that'll give you kind of an indicator of what you can expect going forward when you have, the basketball and the football coming to them in the not so distant future. And what I'm talking about is wrestling. This year, wrestling switches over, the WWE switches over. And immediately, right out of the gate, first week, I mentioned in my news today, they posted pictures of having the Rock auto in their set and, having licensed Rock autographs in there. I mean, he's a megastar, bigger than he ever was, before. And, for Topps to just come right out and say, okay, we're going to have him in the set. It's going to be licensed, you name it. I remember when Leaf allegedly last year was doing a signing with him, and there might be some Leaf Rock autos, and that made some headlines because he just doesn't sign that often. So that alone, it's a reason to be optimistic, right? I mean, that Fanatics is going out there, and if they're going to put a product together, they're going to have the right guys in it. They have the autograph deals with the top guys that they can't even put into licensed products yet. That's the whole reason why you can't get a Wemby auto, the whole reason why you can't get a Stroud auto in a licensed card, right? It's the whole reason why, some of these most of the top quarterbacks don't have autographs. So it's an interesting couple of years. I looked at that news today about the wrestling cards with a significant amount of optimism because, it lets me know, wow, there you go. Topps Chrome, Rock auto. All right. Well, you will eventually be able to get a licensed Top Chrome Wemby auto, CJ Stroud, if that's your guy, Jaden Daniels, if that's your guy, whoever the rookies are in the coming years, your Shedeur Sanders or Travis Hunter, or, obviously we got to wait till the next class, Cooper Flagg. We'll see who the guys are, but I'm excited for that. We kind of gloss over it and say, Fanatics coming in, it's, there's some craziness now. We're losing a couple of years of kind of the continuity that we've had, but I think it's important to take a look at, what they're doing with what they have. And that wrestling one, seeing that today, that got me, it got me excited about the future of the cards that'll be out there. We'll see what the kind of pricing is. You know what I mean? Even the non-licensed stuff has gotten pretty expensive. So, that's a double-edged sword there. You know what I mean? It's cool they're going to come out with these products, but if the products are so expensive, it's, might not be for me, but I'm sure they'll be for somebody. People are always opening products. Lots of other fun news. I see PSA expanding. We could talk about just the millions and millions of cards that were graded over 2024, record numbers. Again, I'm sure that's going to continue, as you saw, PSA announcing expansion. It's the space is, it's heating up, right? And I got to tell you, just from the behind the scenes kind of take, I don't really do the let's rip a ton of Prism and, hunt the new rookie guys. It's just not my thing. I used to open a box or two with my son when they were less money, or I was able to get one for, not a crazy price. I have opened some boxes here or there. They get a little expensive. You know what I mean? They get a little costly, and it's not where I go. Where I play is, the GOATs and, the rarer cards of the GOATs. And I got to tell you, I've seen some prices picking up, and I was the first one to come on here and kind of question the exquisite stuff. And I've talked to the folks over at Heritage. Some of the auctions are silly. The John Stockton one that I talked about a bunch of times, but the Jordans, the Kobes, the LeBrons, the exquisite stuff, they're selling and they're being paid for. And I believe you're going to continue to see that some of the best cards, some of the top cards continue to, set record prices. Just take a look at some of the cards that Heritage sells. I've really seen, such great, high-end stuff from, some of the other places, but Heritage Auction House, man, I think they said they did like 50 million in sports cards last year. That was just one segment. Maybe they even did more than that. It's a lot of money in Heritage stuff, and they just seem to continue to put out, more and more high-end cards. They get these collections of exquisite. They get these, collections of like the Iverson that they have now, the essential credentials out of 3. Um, and they got a PMG Jordan, they got a Star Jordan, they got all these, crazy stuff, right? Yeah, they said Heritage with almost $2 billion total across all categories. I mean, that's pretty nuts. Yeah, it's pretty crazy. But just from a hobby standpoint, go take a look. Every one of their auctions seems to have, cards that are kind of coming out of the woodworks, whether they're vintage finds. There's a sick Joe Jackson that's being offered right now, one of the 1908 caramels. It's, I think, an SGC5. They're just really cool cards coming out. And every time I look at a card and I'm like, wow, that's a new one. When it ultimately sells, it sells for a significant amount of money. So in addition to, what I saw with the wrestling stuff, that gives me a little bit of optimism for what Fanatics is going to do when they actually have all the licenses. You got to just take a look, take a step back and look at some of the prices being paid for some of the better cards. It gives me a lot of optimism about the space, a lot of optimism about, the people coming into the space. There have been some new folks come in the last year or so. They're, really spending, really trying to curate collections. The folks who are here now, I think, for the most part, who collect are here for the long term. And I got to tell you, when the calendar turned to 2025, I immediately started thinking about the National and how awesome it's going to be, in addition to FanFest. Now I just gotta, figure out what days I'm gonna go and, what hotel I'm gonna stay in and, all the other fun stuff. Because Chicago again, it's too easy not to do it. It's not Cleveland. And if Cleveland set a record on attendance, just think of how, crazy it's gonna be over in Chicago this year. So anyway, those are the things that are on my brain today. Nothing really crazy. We could talk about sports. Maybe we will after the first round of the NFL playoffs go and where they go, who should win the MVP and all that other fun stuff. Just hobby wise, this was on my brain today. I will tell you, the first thing I did think about is it's a good thing that there seem to be two quarterbacks for the NFL draft coming out next year, right off the top, with Sanders and Cam Ward and Travis Hunter. Thanks, buddy. Because Ian and I have watched some Bowman University boxes being open, and while he likes to watch that stuff, it's almost become sort of like YouTube for him. Instead of watching a TV show, he'll go on Mealy Pops live. They're like always on Instagram live breaking, and he'll watch them break boxes. And he'll like, look at this guy. I don't know who any of those guys are. He's like, look, this guy's a quarterback. And I'm like, what team? I know the top guys. And just to double down on this, I've looked at like the mock draft boards mostly because, guys, I'm a Raider fan. I'm a Raider fan. I've made my poor son a Raider fan. He's cursed. And we were looking at potentially the number one pick and maybe the number two pick in a 2 quarterback draft. And the Raiders went out and stupidly won 2 of the last 3 games and finished with, I think, the number 6 pick. Would have been 7 if the Jets hadn't beat the Dolphins to close out the year here. And, I'm looking at 6 and I'm like, there's nobody. And that's at 6. Like, who do you take? An offensive lineman? I mean, it's 2 quarterbacks, Travis Hunter. And, I know Ashton Genty is a big name. What? McMillan from Arizona. But still, I mean, he's So anyway, if when you get to 5, you're like, all right, well, I'm a little nervous about the football product coming out, but having 2 quarterbacks at the top of it, that I guess that'll be enough to chase. But other than that, I hope you guys had a great new year. Happy to come back and start making more content and having some fun and try to do another one either tomorrow or the next day and let you guys know what I'm thinking about. I thought the Jordan Lawler story was a cool one, and I think we're not done telling it. I'll pack up some stuff and send it out to him and keep you guys posted. But that was just a fun one I wanted to share. You never know what the hobby's going to bring you. Talk to you soon, guys. Take care.